Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Maelinfell. And today's video is actually pretty awesome. We added a good bit to the village, and I'm really excited to show you. So without further ado, let's just get on with the intro and into the time lapse. Alright, so in the last video, I began working on the docks and some smaller storage buildings a little bit closer to the water, kind of pulling things away from the main village and more towards the outskirts. Now, in this episode, I actually decided to go much larger, and I mean significantly larger, by building 2 longhouses and 1 more smaller individual home. Now, Maelinfell had no longhouses, which is kind of silly for a Norse-inspired village, so it was certainly needed, and I know that it adds a great aesthetic to the area. Now, on top of these 3 new builds, I also made some larger piers in my first ever longboat, and let me tell you, boats in Minecraft are actually really tough. I struggled with it. I looked at tons of reference images. It's really hard to get the curvature of a boat done, but I think I did okay. Let me know once we get to that walkthrough. Now, another surprise is the life tree that is nestled inside the village. Now, a lot of you who've watched the streams or have seen the older videos, you can see it's kind of like a tiny tree. It was larger than everything else, but it was still fairly small in comparison for the lore that it is attached to. So it was significantly smaller than I had originally planned, so I needed to really spruce it up, no pun intended, and I went all out with it. So you'll definitely see that in the walkthrough. Stay tuned for that. We'll get to that in just a few. Now, all in all, this episode contains a lot of new material, and that's why it took a little bit longer than I had originally planned on that one, so sorry, but also not very sorry. It was necessary. I had to do it. Now, obviously, I kept with the main theme of using different wood types and thatch for the roofing, and I also kept the spruce wood as the outlines for the thatch, but I also added a good bit of birch railing to the builds, which adds a nice touch of Norse architecture and really helps the entire area kind of flow together. Now, I'm extremely excited to show you all this one. Here's some music. I'll meet you again for the walkthrough, and I'll see you in just a second. Alrighty, so here we are at the end of the last episode. You remember these 2 storage houses and the beach area that way. And so now, as you can see, we actually added a few more. This is those long houses and everything. And I really don't know which way to start. So we're just going to go on land and then come around back on the beach and circle this way. So as you can see, the wall here is a little bit more detailed. It was very basic and bland. I decided to change that, make it look a lot better. And this is the first longhouse. So as you can see, it's a very simple material. Of course, we have, mossy thatch and things like that since it's next to the water. We have this little bush thing, but without further ado, let's just go straight on in. So this is that birch railing I was telling you about, just FYI. But going on in, you can see this is a nice little meeting area. As soon as you walk in, you're greeted by these grand pillars. We have the supports, more railings, nice shelving, decorations, coal for the fire. We have food and drinks. Now, I couldn't find the item to go on these to make it look like it's on tap, essentially. So just pretend that this has like a little hole in it and you can drink, but of course we have the central fire, have a little bit of meat cooking, but you can see the tables here are really cool. They're kind of like in corners, so you can have some privacy if you want to an extent. But yeah, so we look up and we have the holes for the smoke to go through, and then we have the little holes in the roof for the smoke to get out of, so it doesn't get all crazy. That is not supposed to be there, and it looks like I messed up, so there we go. But either way, this is it. We have some bear pelts hanging up for decoration. Really cool touch here, I think. The boards for the roofing is really cool. And then what we can do is we can go up this ladder here, And as you can see, we have additional space up top. So once again, this is where the smoke would come through. It would billow out this way. But we have this really cool storage area. I mean, it has extra chairs, extra food, just things like that kind of tucked away in these areas to where, you know, everything doesn't have to be downstairs. It can be up here as well. So really like the way that that looks. I think it was a nice touch. This is the only one that has kind of like an attic access like that. So there we go. But if we go out the back door, there we have it. Same thing. We have the pathway here that you can see. Pretty simple. I mean, there's not much to it, but it is here. And this is a singular house here. So this is like a smaller home, nothing fancy, kind of similar to what we've done before. But once again, you walk in, small little kitchen preparing area if you want to prepare some food. Obviously, we have the fire to cook and the holes in the roof where rain would be harder to get in, but smoke is easy to get out. And right here, we kind of have this little partition thing. So if you open up the door, it's the bedroom. I thought it was pretty cool. It's a nice nestled little area, very small, very condensed and compact, but I really like the way that it came out. They have dressers, you know, just enough to have their clothes and things like that. But this is a very small home. Love the way it came out. Love the moss showing through the thatch. Just looks really, really good. And then we of course have the pathway as well. You see here we have some fodder, or essentially manure. It is here kind of baking in the sun, really cooking down. We have another small bush and then just a small little seating area. So unfortunately these blocks are not full blocks. So as you can see, if I put a block down, it does not sit perfectly. So I couldn't really put anything here, but you could just imagine them playing some board games or something like that, or just sitting around talking. This is a beautiful little area right next to the Stave Church, and it just really comes together right here with these custom trees. Really just looks good. I tried to add a lot of detail here, really bring it to life, and I think I definitely succeeded on that one. So this pathway, you know, leads outward to the village, because as you can see here, this is where we stopped, and so we built all this here, and this pathway leads outward. So that is that pathway. So before we get into this house, let me show you one more thing. I worked on the wall. All this wall wasn't here. This is actually a whole new area. So I'll just fly over so you can see it. As you can see here, I added these fields along with this house because this was actually completely barren, and I decided to kind of make something out of it. I think it looks really, really good. Really happy with it. And the life tree. So very different from before. Very, very large. I added as much detail as I could. I'm not good with trees. Please don't judge me too harshly on this one, but I really like the way this came out. I think it looks really cool. It's very huge, kind of twisty. It has lots of like leaves hanging down, but it is absolutely massive, as you can see. And like I said, if you have any ideas on how to make it a little bit more organic looking, please let me know. Not very good with trees. This was my first like real big tree. I know it looks kind of silly, but you know, it looks better than what it was before, so we'll take it. But once again, a little bit of details, and then it kind of tapers off because that's still more stuff I need to build. But this is the second longhouse. As you can see, it's a little bit different. We have some different decorating here. Really like the way it comes out. And this one is not only a meeting hall, but it's also just a sleeping area if you want to. So you walk in, we have plenty of drinks, plenty of food, more bear pelts hanging from the ceiling to show off their kills, things like that. We have a small little open bedroom area here in case, you know, you get a little bit too messed up. You can just hunker down. This is almost like a house in a sense, but it's definitely more of just kind of a meeting area and a place where you can just kind of take it easy. I don't know why the fire is not moving, so I don't know. That's kind of weird. A little different there, but we'll take it. And then on the back side here, we actually still have the some potatoes growing, looking really good. And then this is where we're going to get down to the path. So this is the beach area, and once again, you can see I tapered it off, no big deal. However, if you go down this pathway, we're going to get to the docks and everything. So I tried to once again layer this, and I layered all of this and added the rocks and the vegetation and everything. It took a very long time, but we got it. And this is the first pier. So as you can see here, you go down, gets a little lower, and then we have the Viking longship. So it's not the best one ever, but I think it looks pretty cool. As you can see here, we have some storage for food. And then if you look on the outside, we actually have the little oars to row and the little seats to sit down, and row your boat. You could just pretend there's like little holes here that they go through. I couldn't really figure out a good way to do that, but there it is. And then on the side of this, we actually have some really cool wooden designs. If you go down, and it looks like the world editing kind of messed that up, so I will fix that. But you can look right here and you can see how it just supports the docks, and I think it just looks really cool. So we'll go up the path. Once again, this leads up, and then we're going to keep going, and we're going to have just more decorations, fish traps, crab traps, things like that. And then just another pier, pretty much identical to the other one, just decorate a little bit different. We have some repairs that are needing done here, just some work. You know, it's a little dirty, it's a little messed up, but it looks really, really good. And then of course the beach, once again, layered, decorated with vegetation, and then it goes up here. And of course this wall and everything is brand new. So let me give you a little bit of a fly around. This is Maelinfell as of right now. Definitely large improvements here. Definitely a lot going on. I think it looks really good. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with it. So once again, big old tree, new fields of vegetation, lots of new housing, lots of new paths, exterior decorations, going all out in this area. And I'm so excited to keep going. I'm like really pumped about it. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you liked the video, like all the content, like and subscribe. That would be great. Leave a comment below what you liked about this video, maybe what you didn't like, or some constructive criticism. It always helps. But thank you so much for being here. This is, of course, the Legendary Porpoise signing off. Hope you have a good day. Happy gaming, and I'll catch you for the next one.